Tag Team, back again with another episode of Have You Played? My name is Matt Hall.
And I'm Andrew Taylor, and it's no laughing matter, Matt, because we are checking out my review of Undead Horde.
Oh.
My name is Orson, the last necromancer.
Coming from 10 Tons Limited, Undead Horde is a quaint little game where you take control of Orson, a necromancer, and amass a zombie army, or Undead Horde, and attempt to take over the world of the living. Orson, the last necromancer, was unfortunately captured and bound to an urn by his arch nemesis, Benevictor. This game's blue, if you know what I mean. By some stroke of luck, a stray chicken happens to disturb Orson's urn just enough to release him back into the world. You begin your journey to conquering the living by killing this chicken and raising it to do your bidding. Arise, chicken.
Chicken, arise!
This starting area does a great job of introducing you to the mechanics, which are simple and fun. Basically, you kill enemies with melee weapons or magic attacks and then resurrect them to fight alongside you. I guess that's obvious, but it works really well. Fighting and doing quests gives you experience to level you up, and each new level lets you choose a card to boost your preferred stats. I really appreciate how you and your units actually fight together as one. I don't really enjoy playing as characters that solely rely on their minions to do all the fighting while they stand in the back. It's kind of boring to me. Speaking of your minions, every enemy has a command value. Stronger enemies are worth more, and you do have a cap on how much you can raise at one time. I don't think you actually have a limit on how many units you can have, so long as you have enough command cap. Command cap can be raised by leveling up and becomes a vital part of planning your next move. While you travel around the land slaying all living creatures, you'll acquire tons and tons of loot. Like, really a lot. Orson can equip one weapon, one staff, 2 rings, a book, a skull, and an amulet, and none of these are in short supply. The weapons and staves deal damage, the rings are like cooldown abilities, and the rest are mostly for stats. Each item you find is different, and it allows you to find a playstyle that you like and experiment with others pretty easily. I focused more on damage and command cap, so I could have a larger army of tougher dudes. But you could spec more into mana and sling devastating spells at groups of enemies and destroy them all before they even knew what hit them. Once you defeat enough of one type of enemy, you unlock their statue at your home base. This allows you to raise as many of them as you can for free afterwards. These enemies all have different strengths and specialties. It's kind of like building an MMO dungeon party. You have a couple different kinds of tanks, some healers, some damage doers, so on. Returning to home base and rounding up a new batch of undead to fit the challenges ahead of you is the name of the game. What's even cooler is that every boss you defeat can then be raised to fight with you afterwards. Hell yeah! But you do need to also spend gold in addition to your regular command cap to raise them. As you discover and rescue more bony friends, some of them will come and join you at your home base and set up shop as a store for weapons, rings, and all the things we mentioned before. You can also invest gold in those to improve what they carry. Undead Horde has a decent sense of humor to it. All of your skeletal allies have bone-related names like Skelling, and there's a few references to things like Breaking Bad and the Necronomicon from the Evil Dead. The references and goofiness feels pretty balanced, and it's not too in your face about it. This is a bit of a smaller game, and I think it really takes advantage of that. It doesn't try to overdo it with tons of stats and RPG elements, but it gives you more than enough to keep your brain engaged and excited to get that next piece of gear and raise that new enemy. I really enjoyed messing with my army's build to adapt to whatever enemies or challenges I was facing. I was able to fully complete this game in about 12 hours. The other 4 hours was me accidentally leaving the game on when I went to go get dinner. I got this game for $6 on sale, and it was a really fun time. 10 Tons also has a new game called Skeletal Avenger. It seems to be a fun, co-op, Diablo hack-and-slash adventure set in a similar, goofy, undead world. I can't wait to give it a try.
Destroy them.
That's a game. Undead Horde. You just watched the review. We just watched the review.
Yes. Moments ago.
You ever played Undead Horde?
Ever played Undead Horde?
Ever played Undead Horde?
Let's change the show to Ever Played.
Ever played? Ever played it?
No, but I have played other games from this studio.
10 Tons Limited.
Yeah, some of which I really fucking enjoyed. They're not, I don't want to say they're a shovelware studio, because that's very demeaning, but they are a studio that does make budget games that often reuse assets, and, you know, they're not breaking any new ground.
Right.
But I think they make fun games.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that, because you did a deeper dive on their catalog than I did. But there's, I don't know, making something small but good is better than making something crappy. You know what I mean? I'd much rather play that.
Yeah.
And I kind of appreciate the maximizing the assets. I know some people are like, oh, they reused the game. Well, it's a different engine. And
I saw people bitching that the new Horizon out west, Horizon Goes West game, reused like a jump animation or something. And it's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't think it needs to, like, maybe for some things I'd be like, you know what I mean? But especially if it's a larger production, but like, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna care if the pots in the background are the same pots game to game.
Yeah.
Maybe give them a reskin if you want to, but yeah, this company is something, they really do that. They kind of also seem like they're a larger output to see what sticks. But there's two games in particular that you mentioned that you thought were pretty good. Do you remember what they're called? It was like a sci-fi game, I think, and like one that was kind of like Miami, Hotline Miami. Miami.
I feel like we talked about this so long ago now.
Yeah.
And it definitely has been 2 years since I last played one of their games. So I'm gonna put the name down here.
Right there.
And that's what it is. Yeah. But you know, they have a bunch of games like Tesla versus the World or something. Like they,
yeah.
You know, they're all like pretty okay, if not like pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't play anything from them that I thought was bad, and I do play a lot of games that I don't think are even worth mentioning.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd love to see these guys now that they have. I don't know. I'm hesitant to say that because I don't know a lot about the history of this company. But it'd be cool if you know, now that they've had a couple solid, successful, like I think some of them, you told me one of them was like really well selling. I think one of the mobile games. I was surprised at the numbers. Maybe they'll you know, try to do a larger release. You know, and like pitch their way up to.
Not sure what their aspirations are, but I do like that they've been continuing to make like decent games, and I think there's nowhere to go but up. Hopefully.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with doing the smaller game release that they are now, but maybe that would inspire them with the success that they had to make a larger game. That's maybe, and this is gonna sound like I'm critical, but I'm not. But one that's maybe a little bit more original. Maybe take a risk with a new idea. Because as much, I mean, I played Undead Horde and Skeletal Avenger, which are just kind of like dungeon crawler Diablo style games, and I love them. You know, kind of like roguelike. It'd be cool to see, you know, what they want to bring to the table.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They do genre games. You know, the games don't feel terribly original, but also, I don't know. I mean, that can be said of so many games.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it would be cool to see them do something entirely their own, entirely unique to them, because they obviously know how to make a fucking fun game.
Yeah, for sure. Now the Genesis for me, not the Sega Genesis, but the Genesis for me starting to play this game was back in my World of Warcraft days. All those years ago, there is a Warlock class that you could be, and I didn't play as a Warlock very often. But they're one of a few classes that had like a pet or a minion or a familiar, and all of their combat and all their abilities were, you know, directly related to what that pet or whatever did, and that I always thought was really cool. Especially like I always played characters like there's a Death Knight class in World of Warcraft as well after the 3rd expansion came out. You know, the one of the Lich King. Remember seeing all the commercials and everything. And Matt didn't see it at all. Matt's never owned a television. With the Death Knight class...
I honestly haven't. Until like this year, I haven't watched TV commercials since 2006 or so. Yeah, when the signal went digital, I said, fuck that.
You said,
Yeah, I said,
That's good.
I said I mostly, even back then, like I mostly watched internet videos for entertainment.
Yeah, same here.
Yes, fuck TV. Also, and it seems like over time, everybody else was like, yeah, you know what?
Also,
fuck TV.
Also, fuck TV.
So no, I didn't see that, but I do.
Know what I'm talking about?
I do love to watch old compilations full of commercials.
As do I. But the Death Knight class, no, they're just a necromancer.
I was gonna say, is there a necromancer class?
Yes, they could. Well, no, but there's classes that did that same shit. Yeah.
That use the powers of necromancy.
Necromancy, yes. And I always really loved that. I thought, for some reason, making a skeleton move around is really compelling, and I think it's very cool to me.
Like an Archvile in Doom.
Yes.
They raised all the dead.
And the new Dooms?
In all Dooms.
Oh, is that the... I don't remember which one that is.
They're like a big flaming skeleton. Actually, I don't know if they were in Doom Eternal. They're definitely in Doom... Sorry. They are in Doom Eternal for sure. I don't know if they were in Doom 1, like Doom 2016, but they are in the OG Dooms. Basically, they
just regen everybody.
Yeah, and it's fucking brutal because that's a game where you're getting swarmed by enemies, and then
are they the ones that are like kind of white and kind of feminine looking? Is that what I'm thinking of?
I don't think so.
No, I don't know what I'm thinking of. I think I'm thinking of a totally different game. Anyway. It got me looking into those games, that seeing if there was any games that you played as a necromancer, Undead, Horde, that had that similar mechanic. In this game, it checked the box, man. It does it pretty dang well.
This is kind of off topic. Have you played the necromancer class in Loop Hero?
Yes.
I haven't yet. I haven't touched it yet.
Super cool, very fun. That became my main class after the warrior. The rogue class was pretty cool too, but I've never been good. One of the reasons that I like necromancer style classes is usually that they can summon, and they also have vampirism, however you'd say that. So they gain health from hurting enemies.
Yeah.
I'm really good at managing that mechanic. Whereas if I'm just like a damage dealer that's like a glass cannon, I'll get annihilated. I'm not very good at that for some reason.
Yeah,
I need to be a tank.
It seems like one out of every 8 runs with the rogue, I fucking nail it, and then other times it's like, well,
you just get shit on.
Fucking knocked out by very low level enemies.
If you get tons of speed and crit damage, rip guys apart before they can even hit you.
We're not talking about Loop Hero.
I wish we were, Matt. That's a great game. I'm gonna cry about it.
But no, this seems kind of cool. I would look out for if there's a publisher sale.
Yeah, for this.
I'd love to pick up a handful of their games and just check them all out because I like the ones I have played. I'm sure I would like the ones I haven't played.
For sure. I think this game, a lot of those games, I would imagine probably more conducive to we're talking about making a new series with just quicker reviews for games that are you don't have a ton to say about them, but they're pretty good. Enough worth talking about, but maybe not a full...
I think the whole impetus for the channel is to be hey, I love this game. I'd love for you to know about it. Let's talk about it.
But maybe even these games would find themselves better fit for that rather than a long-form discussion, because there isn't a ton to talk about, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
No, sometimes it's hey, you're familiar with the mechanics. You've played this type of game before. This one's got a few quirks that make it its own thing, and it's pretty good, and there's nothing more than that.
Yeah.
It's not breaking tons of new ground, but games don't need to.
No, it can just be good at what it does.
Yeah.
And this, in that search, when I found this game, I also picked up Overlord. Do you remember that game? From early 2000s.
Overlord, where is that where you're it's like a hell sim? Is that what I'm thinking of?
You're thinking of Dungeon Keeper.
I am thinking of Dungeon Keeper, yes. No, I have no idea what Overlord is.
Overlord, I guess it seemed like it was a huge game to me when I was coming out. My goodness, when I was growing up, but I think when it was coming out. But I think it was just because my older brother was excited about it, so I perceived that as a child as this game's huge. So I don't think it was as big as I thought. But it's a game where you play as an Overlord. And I think you're brought back from the dead, and you're tasked with using these little minion guys. They're like little gremlins that kind of look like little goblins. Very similar to how you use them in Pikmin. You use them in combat, and the game seems like you have a weapon and you can fight, but it's more of a puzzle game. It looks a lot like Fable. Like visually, it looks a lot like Fable, and it's very slapstick and goofy. You're in this kind of like very similar to Lord of the Rings world, Middle Earth world, but it's all parody. It's a very large parody. Like the dwarves are all ridiculous, like even more so than they actually are.
I really don't like games that try to attempt humor.
No, you just like non-funny games.
Yeah.
But you get a bunch of, you can command them to like, the minions.
Just poop and fart.
Poop and fart, they can piss. I can't figure out the pissing, it's a weird button combination. But yeah.
That's weird, because in Postal, it's very easy to piss.
Is it easy? You can just piss?
There's often a piss button, yeah.
You can piss in Conker's Bad Fur Day pretty easily. You just have to be in a bathroom. Actually, they take your weapons away, and you can only piss to attack enemies.
I remember that fondly.
It was a very good time. But I think Overlord, it has 2 sequels, so it did well enough, but I don't know, I kind of lost, kind of ran out of gas in the first game, so I think I want to jump back into it and try to get all the way through it, because I think there was something really cool there. There's something to, like, I don't know, just controlling little guys and have them go around.
You ever play Lemmings?
I've never played Lemmings.
Oh, you might love it. It's kind of like, I'd say one of the first games to do that, and it was a worldwide smash.
Yeah, for sure. I played a lot of games similar to it on like Flash games back when I was in middle school and stuff, but never the official Lemmings.
I would say give it a shot. And what I'd say to you, viewer, is do you see how a talk about one game led to talk about several other games? Well, that's what we like to do here. We like to talk about games we like, games we don't like as much, or games that we would love to get into that we haven't tried yet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have thoughts on Undead Horde or games like it, or some of the other things we brought up. So I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments. And that's not just empty YouTuber speech. I do like interacting with all you anonymous weirdos on here. And it's, I found out some interesting stuff. I've learned a lot of you have some very interesting ideas.
And you love sharing them.
No, but really, if you have any thoughts about that, let us know. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share the video with a friend. Help us out. We're clearly struggling. Our sub count is actually going down every day.
It's really disappointing to see.
Yeah.
We'll be dead within a week.
Yes, unless you can help us. So
Soldier
please.
Boy, tell him.
Yeah.
What does Supermaning mean?
Oh, it's when you come on someone's back and then you slap a sheet onto it and it sticks like a Superman cape.
That's cool.
Yep. Bye.
Really?